What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. I'm once again joined by Tyler. We're back for another video on our Death Stranding community series, a community series that's been airing every single Thursday on our channel. Now, this is the last day. Death Stranding actually comes out tomorrow. We got the reviews are out for this game as of last week. So Tyler and I want to talk about it a little bit, but frame it in the way of asking the question, is Death Stranding for you? There was a lot of, this game pretty much is very, very divisive. Exactly what Tyler and I have been telling you this entire time. And even Tyler and me ourselves, we're kind of on the opposite fence of getting the game just in general. So lots of differing opinions on this game. So we're going to go over again what people were saying about this game, the review scores, and ultimately if you should be getting this game. Very quickly, though, I want to just preview the couple days ahead. Again, the game comes out tomorrow. We're going to be having a giveaway tomorrow, first thing in the morning on Death Stranding. And then this weekend and following into the rest of the week, we will be covering the game, loads of videos talking about Death Stranding. And the more support you give to those videos, the more videos we will ultimately make. So lots of Death Stranding content coming up. So the reviews of this game were pretty mixed. It's got a Metacritic of 85, which is very, very good, but it's kind of been tanked by a lot of lower scores. There were some publications that gave this game 5s and 6s and 7s, so a couple of scores did kind of lower the overall score of this game, but this game was kind of exactly what Tyler and I have been saying it was this entire time. One of the things that we both saw was years ahead. This game was just years ahead of everything else, which Tyler had almost said word for word in the last video, that the game is basically art. It's a different way of telling a story. Jeff Keighley even said that it's like pushing the gaming medium forward in a completely new direction. This is a Hideo Kojima game, but ultimately there's a couple other smaller things. They really paint the picture what this game is. Besides that, even though those are all big things, for me, playtime is one of them, being an 85-hour, that one publication or one review said that it took them 85 hours to beat, and this is a long game. The ending of this game, the ending cutscene is the ending to Death Stranding is a 2-hour cutscene. That's not necessarily a spoiler, but that is just absolutely insane. So, this game is a game that, like Tyler and I have said, is just, firstly, it's not going to be a game for everybody. You have to be a specific, I think, kind of gamer. And, I know a lot of people were kind of getting mad at us for our differing opinions over the past couple videos. It's okay to not like this game. It's okay to not be into this kind of game. Not every, and it doesn't mean you're less of a gamer than somebody else if you're a fanboy of this game, or you just generally like it, or if you're a hater of this game, or you generally dislike it. It's okay to be on either side. I saw a lot of people say, like, well, if you can't sit down and play a 50, 60, 70-hour game, then, like, you're a loser, you're not a real gamer. People don't have that. Some people don't have that kind of time. I don't have that kind of time, and I'm getting the game regardless. But, it's definitely not going to be a game for everybody. And I think even more to that point, even the people that buy it, which I think there are going to be a lot of people that buy this and they don't necessarily know fully what they're getting themselves into. I think even less of the people that buy it, the game is actually made for, if that makes any sense. So if the game sells 7-8 million copies, I think it's kind of only made for like 3 to 4 million. And if you're part of that group, that's awesome. That's amazing. It's okay if you're not, though. I don't think there's that many people that can jump in. And I don't think Death Stranding is a game for you if you can't devote a significant amount of time to that game. Our friend Nick, he's getting the game, and he was asking me a couple days ago, should I like wait to be able to play this game for long stretches of time, or should I kind of play it a couple hours here or there? And what Tyler said so many times about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and like Pokemon, those are very good games, we believe, at jumping in and out, that you can just jump in, play a couple hours, leave. You could leave it for a week, you could leave it for probably even a month, and you could be totally cool. Death Stranding is not one of those games. You don't play Death Stranding like that. You don't play a Persona. You don't play Witcher. You don't play any of these huge Final Fantasy 15. You don't play any of these massive open world games, or just games in general that are that long. You can't really play them a couple hours here, a couple hours there, and expect to. You can. I'm not saying you can't do that, but I don't think you can do that and expect to get the full amount of the game. Full amount that Hideo Kojima wanted you to get out of the game. I just don't fully think that you're going to be able to get that. So Is this game for everybody? No. Is this game for people that I think just need to sit down and play through it? And you even need to be like understanding of the game, or I think you need to be kind of aware of the art that he's trying to do and kind of accepting of where the game's going to go, because a lot of people are saying it's barely even a game, right? The gameplay mechanics are actually one of the weakest things in this game. So you're probably going to do a lot of watching and a lot of like mentally exploring, which is totally cool. But that is not for everybody. That's actually for a significantly less amount of people than I think are even going to get the game. So is that a bad thing? No. I love it. You've seen that kind of across the board, that people are praising him, that, hey, even though this game isn't for everybody and it's super weird, credit for him, and especially credit for Sony for giving him that much money to be and allowing him to do that. It's really, really awesome that in the gaming world we're able to have this kind of game. I don't think you can really get this kind of high-profile thing in any other medium. You don't see a like a Marvel film that's this like out there, right? Doctor Strange was like out there, but it's not like a completely different way of doing films, right? This game is, and this game is a very, very high-profile game, and it's really awesome that the gaming world, and especially PlayStation exclusive, we get to experience that. So, Tyler, what kind of people do you think Death Stranding is for?
I don't actually know if there is a type of people that this game's for. So let's look at. I'm just gonna give you guys a couple like different quotes from different reviews, just because it actually is kind of important when you hear it. So right here. So this is on Kotaku. This is what they liked. Building mechanics strongly communicate themes. Actors give it their all. So in other words, if you like really good performances, which we would see on like The Last of Us, God of War, there's a lot of them. Now, you'll enjoy the cutscenes and the story part. Okay, hiking is both difficult and relaxing, so that's interesting. But here's the dislike: long length. Most story is backloaded to the end. So this is where it becomes difficult, because all the people are like, oh my god, the visuals are amazing. Now, nobody really buys a game for visuals anyway. So people who are really into the like single-player story games, where it's really story-driven, they love the performance, like everything, this isn't for you. Simply because it's super long, like I've said that. People were acting like I was crazy. I was able to see, I mean, I could tell. It's a Kojima game. If a trailer's 12 minutes long and it never seems to end, what do you think the game's going to be? And I'm not complaining, I'm just saying. So they say here, most story is backlogged to the end. So the performances, everything great about the story, the visuals, all of it is towards the end. Well, what's the end? Well, here's what they say. It says they completed the story in about 85 hours. Not 35 hours, not 25 hours, 85 hours. They've played over 100 total at this point. Now, this is a game journalist. The majority of the people buying the game, however many million people, are not game journalists. They don't have, regular people, you and me, we don't have 85 hours to sit down and play a game to figure out what it's about, what the story is, understand it. We don't have time for that. You don't have time for that. Unless you're really young. But if you're really young, are you even going to understand it? Probably not, because older people won't even understand it. It's Death Stranding, and it's a Kojima game. So that is like, okay, well, if you're into story, which this is a single-player story game, right? If you're into those story games, but you don't have around 80 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours, pretty much anything over 30 is out of reach. If you don't have 70 to 80 hours to play this game, it's not for you. And we could take this even a little bit further. Here's another one, Business Insider, they've collected all the reviews out right now, and they've kind of did like a summary. So, Death Stranding is a long game that requires a personal investment from its players. Now, as a headline type of thing, that sounds fine. Of course, we want to be invested. We want to be emotionally invested. That's what we liked about God of War and The Last of Us and those type of games. But, again, that's a headline. Knowing that it's 85 hours, or it was 85 hours for that particular journalist, is insane. It's amazing. It's also insane. So here's the quote. It's not a game that makes itself easy to enjoy. There are a few concessions for uninterested players. It's ponderously slow, particularly in the early chapters, which largely consist of delivering packages over staggering distances. Early conversations are filled with phrases and words that will be incomprehensible to the uninitiated, and honestly, much of it remains a mystery after the credits roll. Does that sound like a game that you really want to deal with? If you have only a little bit of time, we're entering the holiday. I've talked about the holiday season how many times now? That this game would have been great if it would have launched in like April, or like May or June, where people have more time in the summer. Not in the holiday season where you have all these other games coming out. You have the holidays, you have Thanksgiving, you have Black Friday, you have Black Friday shopping, you have Christmas 3 weeks after Thanksgiving, and everything that goes along with that. People coming over, family, this and that, traveling. Who's going to have time for 80 hours on top of a game that's very slow in the beginning? That's a turnoff. People will trade it in while the trade-in value is high. So it's slow in the beginning, in the early chapters. Well, if you're talking about a story game that's 80 hours long, what's early? The first 10, 20 hours? Because that's what killed Days Gone. So, again, if you're someone who wants to enjoy the story, which I assume most of you would want to do, because that's really the only way to progress and probably not unlock things, but kind of, yeah, because there are like different weapons which he creates with his bodily fluids. That's odd, but interesting, I guess. But you get that later in the game. Well, what's later? 40 hours, 50 hours? So what? Am I not going to get a rifle or a gun or some kind of weapon until I play for 50 hours? I can guarantee you I'll never get a gun. And like different bases. I can guarantee you, because because basically you can carry around a large 3D printer. And you can create like almost like a base, like a house or whatever. And then what's cool, here is what is cool. The Bloodborne or Dark Souls type element where when you create something in the game, because it's all shared on like a server, because it's all like dimensions in this game. So when you create something, let's say Alex creates something, I can actually go and find what Alex created, and I can create something, and you can find what I've created, and we can all share it. That's like the whole point of the game. You never actually see me, but I was there. And together we can all rebuild. That's the whole point of the game, which is awesome. Here's the problem. What happens if only 10% of however many, I don't care if I'm right about around 5 million, if Alex is right around, what'd you say, 7 million, or 5 to 7 million, I said under 5 million, or 5 million max. It doesn't matter how many it sells. If only, let's say, 10% play for 40 to 50 hours to unlock those type of things, nobody's going to be able to build anything, and that entire concept of the game, which is actually the main point of the game, it's going to fail because there's not going to be anything. What the idea is for there to be a number of different things, different bridges that are made. If there's an area that you can't traverse because you don't have the stuff yet, someone who's farther than you can create that bridge to allow you to get there, to help you. That's really awesome. Again, if it's going to take you 40 to 50 hours to get there, you're not going to have that many people doing that. So you're going to be somebody who's constantly stuck. Is that a game that's fun? It doesn't sound like it. That actually makes it sound like I'd rather end the game and play Pokemon for a couple hours, or Jedi Fallen Order, or something else that I can just kind of just play and not have to worry about like, well, I have to wait until someone has more time than me, I guess, because I only have an hour to play tonight. I don't have 20 more hours. So I'm going to have to wait for somebody to play for 20 hours to be able to build the thing that I need. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't want to call it a mess because I want this game. I really do. I'm not getting it. I really want it. And I want it to be great. People think I don't want it to be great. I want it to be so good. I've said, and you guys got to understand, I've called a lot of what's coming out now. I've said it probably won't sell all that well. The NPD, they've actually said it's very difficult to see where this game might fall when it sells. Like, it might be in the top 20, or it might be somewhere else. I don't think it's going to sell that well. I could be wrong about that. That's fine. I've said that this game is, or the world is not ready for this game. That it's a new art form that only some will appreciate now and more will appreciate in the future. That is being said in reviews. I've said this kind of stuff. So I don't want people to think, because there was actually a lot of people thinking like, who's that other guy? He's nuts. I might be. And I am nuts. But I don't think I am about Death Stranding. What I've talked about here, what Alex has talked about here, if all of what we've talked about sounds good to you, then this is for you. You know what I mean? And if it doesn't sound good for you, it's not for you. If you don't have 80 hours to play for a story, if you don't have 30 plus to just get a weapon, to start to build stuff, to really experience the game, it's not for you. If you really like performances, well, the story doesn't really start for a couple hours. It's very slow in the early stages. So I'd assume 10 to 15, maybe 20 hours. This isn't for you if you really want the performances. If you're not someone who wants to watch a 2-hour cutscene for the ending, it's not for you. If you're somebody who wants to just kind of walk around and worry about how much weight you have on your back and walking slow so ghosts don't get you, and not really knowing what exactly you're doing, but you're just kind of doing it, this is for you. This game, the more that we've learned from the reviews, the less people it's for. If you're into the being part of a small group of people who are part of this new, basically art form, this new way of this very small new way of gaming that will, like I said, probably be larger in the future, but right now it won't be, then this is for you. To just be able to say that I experienced it, then this is for you. But that's really it. Otherwise, this isn't really for anybody.
So let us know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? Who do you think this game is for? Are you guys getting this day one? Are you guys going to wait for it? Let us know all those things in the comments below. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And hey, if you're on the fence about this game, we are giving away the game for free starting tomorrow. So you could always enter our giveaway. And then just, if you win it for free, you haven't lost anything by buying it. So definitely give that some thought. But the giveaway starts tomorrow. Loads of Death Stranding videos over the weekend and into next week. So we got lots of Death Stranding coverage coming your way. Thank you all so much for watching these videos in our community series, and we hope to see you on future videos.